Experts within security circles believe that tough talk is only a temporary reprieve for residents of the volatile region. So, what's the winning formula, if at all, in the fight against banditry? NTV's Leila Mohammed interrogates.
Cattle rustling and banditry have found a home in 4 counties in the North Rift region, with gunmen taking short and well-calculated breaks in times like the present, when a multi-agency team has been sent to flush them out, only to return when things have lulled.
Look around the TV, you'll be seeing people armed walking around, not in a country where there's arms control. You can't allow that. We are seeing it and accepting it.
We have a civilian CS who will go to Turkana donning military fatigue. In fact, the kind of tactics we are using is that we are threatening violence on the people, and this is not going to work for us.
This multi-agency approach has been tried in the past in Laikipia County, a mission that a former regional commissioner now reveals lacked coordination.
Pia jamaa coordinates ndio hizi majangili wako pande hiyo au wanakuja wanapiga bomu pande hii. Maana wenye ng'ombe, wenye mifugo, wenye nani ni wale watu ambao wanakaa nao kwa meza mjipanga mikakati ya kumaliza majangili. Hiyo walifi itakwisha namna gani?
The issue of in-between fights inside the agency is not there. It's the issue of functions and who does what. In fact, in Laikipia, our role is very small. We are at the back, trying to clear the challenges that were there, leaving indeed the local force, police and the rest to deal with the situation.
Security agencies have been accused of failing to understand the lay of the land and the bandits they fight, leaving officers vulnerable to attacks during security missions.
Can't say that our officers are ill-trained. The fact is that they don't understand the terrain, and they are navigating a very complicated terrain with broken compasses. I mean, what we lack basically is intel information.
According to data from the national government, about 800,000 small arms found themselves illegally into the arms of civilians in the country, with 10% of that ending up in the Rift Valley and causing a major havoc with banditry in that region.
If the government fails to secure my animals, I carry my weapons. They'll come for me. The others will come for me. I defend them. Why should we allow them to defend themselves? It's not their call. The call for the defense of my animals in West Pokot, in Turkana, in Baringo, lies to the government.
Simple challenges faced on the front line have been cited as weak points in securing the volatile north.
Wetu ambao naona wanapigwa marisasi na kukufa, hakuna hata mmoja anapewa allowance. Ile mshahara ambayo yule officer anapata kwa kule Kabedo, yule mshahara ambayo askari amesimama Bangata kwa traffic anapata. There's no incentive whatsoever.
The troubled north has been described as a forgotten frontier that is in need of a change in government policies to open up not only spaces but opportunities for the residents there, many of whom suffer from illiteracy, poverty and the scramble for diminishing natural resources.
Remember, we had Operation Nyundo in 1984. What did it achieve? Apart from displacement of the population, we didn't achieve much. Now we have the president saying that he has given instructions to the CS Interior to camp there. To do what? The only thing we know is deployment of security forces, yet we have other things that we are supposed to do.
Provide roads, even for security forces to operate. Provide enough water. Provide, control the grazings. Control the grazing. And then patrol those areas throughout. Don't be reactive. No, be there and respond. Again, when you're on ground, please do gather intelligence.
While the government has sent out a multi-agency team that includes the Kenya Defence Forces to deal with the bandits at the moment, calls for a permanent stay there of the Ulinzi boots has been termed as unsustainable.
Let's focus now on North Rift, Marakwet. What we are getting there in terms of revenue is not enough to sustain a military presence in those areas. And this is where we need to now refocus and need to re-strategize.
Until then, boots head to the ground in efforts to calm the situation for the short term. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
All right, let's take you back to our top story. Still, of course, on insecurity, and the government has declared the security situation in Kenya's north a national emergency. The president has directed the deployment of the military and hundreds of police officers to that region in a bid to end banditry. But whilst that happened, there was another attack in Korkon, that's in Baringo County, leading to mass displacement of people. Here now is NTV's Brian Obuya.
After several weeks of being on the receiving end and facing accusations of not doing enough in the face of the bloodbath in Kenya's north, the government has silently moved in. The government has declared the security situation currently prevailing in North Rift Valley region as a national emergency, indicating that 100 civilians and 16 police officers have been killed over the last 6 months. The statement from Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki also indicated that painful and decisive measures will be taken to curb the situation immediately. Kindiki also invoked the Public Order Act and sections of the National Police Service Act, declaring through a Gazette notice certain areas within the counties of Turkana, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, Laikipia and Samburu as disturbed and dangerous, with the legal consequences set to arise. President William Ruto directing the deployment of KDF officers and Kenya Police Service officers to quell the madness. Ruto gave the order during a meeting with the leaders at State House Nakuru.
Wamekuwa na kiburi mingi. From tomorrow, we are moving into that area, and we will not leave that area until every illegal gun has been returned.
Appearing to go hand in hand with the order was another attack in Baringo South, where for several hours a fierce gunfire exchange went on between police reservists and bandits at the foot of the Korkoron Hills. There has been a mass exodus of people from Sinoni village. Villagers who had resettled there after the macabre killing of 7 people last year. Elsewhere, the nearby Sinoni Primary School was shut down earlier this evening after hours of fighting nearby. The school head teacher telling NTV the gunfire began at 11 a.m. and the security situation deteriorated. The government has also given a 3-day amnesty for the surrender of firearms in the banditry-hit regions. On Sunday, a tough-talking President Ruto had reiterated the government's stance on fighting bandits in the north. The deployment of KDF comes after recent rampant incidents of banditry in the region that have left residents living in fear. Last week, 4 police officers were killed in an ambush along the Kitale-Lodwar highway. At least 12 other people, including 7 police officers, are admitted in hospital with multiple bullet injuries. A sub-county police commander is among the injured. The attackers also burned 2 police vehicles after looting them. Banditry has over the decades caused untold suffering, characterized by many deaths and injuries on the people of Kerio Valley in Elgeyo Marakwet and other affected counties including West Pokot, Baringo, Laikipia, Turkana and Samburu. Brian Obuya, NTV.
It's a critical story that we are keeping tabs on. We'll bring you the latest as and when things develop. All right, shifting focus from security to a bit of politics now, and President William Ruto's recent charm offensive on the Azimio allied legislators has given him a semblance of an absolute majority in Kenya's 13th Parliament. Jubilee Party members of Parliament have already pledged to back the government's agenda in the House, opening the door for the smooth sailing of Ruto's legislative proposals. Now, while there are those in support of Ruto's move to cajole opposition legislators to his side, terming it as political genius, there is a school of thought that describes the president as being on a quest for absolute power. NTV's Sydney Chazima explains.
Kenya has been held hostage to ethnic politics, to personality cult politics for far too long.
The political storm followed President William Ruto's meeting with several ODM legislators at State House, Nairobi, a move that did not go down well with Azimio leader Raila Odinga.
Tumesema kama mashipa na umalaya ya kisiasa waende.
Beneath the verbal attacks, there are reports of fears in the Azimio hierarchy that Ruto's quest to woo opposition MPs is aimed at crippling the opposition while amassing an absolute majority in parliament. Jubilee Party, a major stakeholder in the opposition coalition, is the latest to pledge support to Kenya Kwanza. Over 30 Jubilee lawmakers met and pledged to work with the president.
I want to put it in this broad daylight. Jubilee has made a decision to work with the government of His Excellency President William Ruto.
This now fills the Kenya Kwanza administration majority stake in parliament almost to the brim. And this appears to be geared towards achieving the absolute majority of 233 legislators needed to amend the constitution through parliament.
To amend the constitution in Kenya, you need 233 of the National Assembly. So if you could get there to 233 in Kenya, National Assembly, then you could say you have absolute majority.
On paper, the Kenya Kwanza coalition enjoys a majority of 179 MPs against Azimio's 157. With 28 Jubilee allied MPs pledging support for Ruto's legislative agenda in parliament, Kenya Kwanza's support in the National Assembly now totals up to 207. It is still unclear which way the ODM allied MPs who visited State House will sway in parliament. But should the 8 MPs be sympathetic to Ruto's cause, this will in turn bring Kenya Kwanza's charges to 215. Pundits argue that as much as it is a political masterstroke by Ruto to pull MPs to his side, absolute power could corrupt.
You know, power gets to people's heads. Once you have such a numbers, you can be reckless. It's dangerous. You can attempt to do things that are outrageous.
One of the proposals by Ruto to the National Assembly by way of a memorandum is the creation of the office of the Leader of Opposition, a proposal Azimio have been critical of, stating that it needs to go through a referendum and not parliament.
The nature of the thing on the constitution you are attacking, you are kind of touching, may require the country to sit down and talk about it. And here you are, because you have the numbers, you are doing it.
With the numbers piling up, fears of an attempt to extend the term limit of the president remain rife, months after Fafi MP Salah Yakub hinted at the same.
We will oppose any move to change the constitution. I will be at the front to say no to any change of the constitution, to change term limit.
Why is he looking for such a majority? Why does he need an absolute majority? Why is he going all out to get MPs from other parties? And people are saying it is because he might want to amend the constitution to extend his term in parliament, or maybe at the very least provide for things which otherwise would not pass when parliament is parliament.
Ruto's charm offensive to bag opposition MPs continues to pluck off Azimio's influence in parliament, leaving the opposition disjointed and weakened. Sydney Chazima, NTV.
Elsewhere, police in Malava in the county of Kakamega are investigating an incident where 2 children have died and 11 others hospitalized after they reportedly consumed poisonous food. Here's NTV's Zakes Mwasame with those details.
The children feasted on the meal prepared by their grandmother on Sunday. For 2 of them, that will be their last meal as they perished moments later. The unfortunate incident occurred at Sinatule village, Chavaya ward in Malava constituency, Kakamega County. The minors who died were aged 2 and 3 years respectively. One of them died on the spot while the other succumbed on the way to hospital. According to neighbors, they consumed the soup from beans prepared by their grandmother only to develop stomach upsets later.
Ni harakati kati ya watoto kutoka kwa chini kwa mtoni kuoka kuruti wakaanza kula ya maragwe. Sasa sisi ndio tunafuatilia kina ambacho kinafanya hao watoto wakiaka ama hao wengine wakipatikana hospitali, inasemekana ati maragwe ambayo ni walikula inaleta shida.
Sasa hiyo watoto 11 wakafadhali wako at least wamepona na wengine 2 wamekufa. Mmoja mwenye amekufa ni wangu mwenye anaitwa Gideon. Huyo ni mtoto wangu last born, na kuna mwingine mtoko ni Peter ako na 4 years.
Those who survived, aged between 2 and 10 years, are recuperating at the Webuye Referral Hospital in the county of Bungoma.
Paka utakuta watoto labda walikula chakula yenye hata labda wamefagia kwa barabara tu. Mahindi yenye wanaokota tu kwa mashamba imesha expire, iko na toxic ndani, na hao wanatumia chakula kama hiyo. Hiyo lazima italeta madhara.
Basically
we have managed them. They presented with this of having ingested weed from the farm where they cooked and took it, and several of them had symptoms of vomiting and diarrhea.
Police have taken a sample of the food for investigations.
Sasa wako wai ni watoto 11, wenye wamekufa ni watoto 2. Sasa mmoja mtoko sana kuna mwaka 1 na nusu. Wengine wako na 10, 12 na 5 hapo 9 hapo.
My caution to parents is that we must be observant to our children. We must check what they are taking, and we must be close to them, because if you allow the children to go to push and collect things and come to cook in the home, sometimes can be very disastrous, like what has happened to this particular family.
Zakius Masami, NTV.
Grace to the family, and certainly hope that those little ones that have been affected do recover soon. Let's take a breather at this point on NTV Tonight. Do stay with us. As always, there's more coming up on the other side.
Lavender, manukato ya kutuliza iliyoundwa kwa mafuta halisi kutokana na umahiri wa lavender. Downy Lavender Concentrate mpya hunipa utulivu na ujasiri siku nzima. Jaribu sasa kwa shilingi 20 tu.
Ready? Wow. Mia, can you send me that? Sure.
Mia, can you send me that?
Mia, can you send me that?
Will you send me that? Not you, Mia.
Hey, can you send me that? Sure.
It's incredible. It's your former son, Carlos. And no matter what, you can never ever outsmart Carlos.
Get out of my building! Get out of my building! Tell Rico to show you where Gabrielle is hiding and bring him here to me!
Gabrielle lives! She knows everything!
Where can we find her?
Okay, wait! Look here! That beautiful girl! Look!
Forever my love.
The Great Oasis Gardens in Nanyuki by Optiven is the perfect piece of land for you. Pay 379,000 and get 6,000 bob cashback. Call us on 0790 300 300.
Thanks very much for staying with us. Now, communities across different parts of the country continue to feel adverse effects of the severe drought that has gripped the country for months. With water levels reaching historic lows and crops withering in the fields, many Kenyans are struggling to cope with the impact of the drought. The lack of rainfall has led to water shortage, reduced agricultural productivity and increased level of insecurity, especially along the Kerio Valley belt, where communities battle for the scarce resources. Local leaders are calling for more urgent interventions to address the situation. NTV's Zainab Ismail reports.
This is the reality of everyday life for thousands of residents who live along the troubled Kerio Valley, where the impact of drought is dire. The land here, mostly dry and cracked, baked in a lifeless expanse of dirt and dust. Residents are forced to walk for hours in search of water for their own consumption and for their livestock, which are the main source of livelihood.
Hatuna maji kabisa. Bado watu wanatembea kilomita 10 kutafuta maji. Bado watu wanachimba shimo zaidi ya mita 10, mita 20 wakipanga laini kuchota maji. Mambo ambayo inaleta insecurity zingine ni kwa sababu sisi tunakosa maji katika eneo hili. Ndio maana tunaenda tunajikuta tuko Uganda, tunaenda tunajikuta tumeingia Baringo, tunaenda tunajikuta tumeingia Marakwet tukitafuta maji. Kule kuna maji, huku hakuna maji.
The residents living at the West Pokot, Turkana, Baringo and Elgeyo Marakwet border point experienced total crop failure during the last planting season, worsening the situation and escalating the already volatile security situation in the region.
Licha tunajaribu kama machifu ya kuongelesha tu, lakini shida inawasumbua tu. Unapata mtu anatoroka kwake kwa ajili ya ukosefu ya chakula na anaenda kuiba ya mwingine na anakula mkuko msituni. So ombi letu tu serikali kuu na kaunti watushughulikie pia chakula ili pia watu wetu pia watikimu pia kimaisha.
There is almost zero economic activity in most of the areas here as insecurity tears apart the communities. The situation is no different in the county of Mandera, which has also suffered the drought impact following 4 successive failed rainfall seasons. The affected households lack basic needs like food and water, as the lucky ones get 1 meal a day.
One of the challenges we have here in the county is the issue of malnutrition among children. You find that because of the drought, we have had even cases of admissions at Mandera Referral Hospital where children have been admitted because of malnutrition.
However, the tides are changing in Mandera North, where a group of farmers have shifted from pastoralism as their mainstay and embraced mixed farming through the installation of irrigation projects in the region. In the midst of the bleakness, a green wonder is thriving along River Daua, which flows from the Ethiopian highlands across the common border with Ethiopia. You can see farms dotted with various crops at different stages of growth. There is hope for a much better future.
Tumeamua kupanda hivi viazi tamu, sweet potato. Kwa umuhimu wake iko na faida mingi kwa watoto.
Ama mimea yao yote ni ya watu tatu. Mara ni ya binadamu, mara ni ya mifugo, mara ni wanyama wa pori. Wanyama wa pori. So ile mazao yao yote inaishia kwa hao wenyewe.
Most of the water they depend on comes from River Daua, and currently River Daua is not, the river flow has ceased and farmers are being forced to scoop water for them to do their irrigation.
The drought situation in 22 arid and semi-arid counties remain critical due to the late onset and poor performance of the much-anticipated October to December 2022 short rains, coupled with 4 previous consecutive failed rainfall seasons. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
President William Ruto has defended his move of inviting leaders from the opposition camp for consultative meetings, stating that his government will continue to work with all leaders irrespective of their political affiliation. Ruto says he does not need permission from anyone to deliver his mandate. Here's NTV's Ruth Sarmoy with more.
President William Ruto arrived at the Bondeni Affordable Housing Project after a consultative meeting with Nakuru and Baringo leaders for the better part of Monday. Here, the president lashed out at his opponents for criticizing his interaction with opposition politicians.
Hatuhitaji ruhusa ingine kutoka mtu mwingine yeyote, kwa sababu kuna watu wamezoea siasa mbaya, siasa mambo zamani, siasa duni, ati ya kwamba kiongozi amechaguliwa, amepatiwa idhini na wananchi, mtu mwingine anaenda kutengeneza baria, anaenda kutengeneza mahali pengine, ati lazima sasa kabla hujafanyia kazi wananchi, ati lazima uende uulize mtu fulani ruhusa.
The president's sentiments come a day after a section of Jubilee leaders declared their intention to support the Kenya Kwanza government in total defiance to retired President Uhuru Kenyatta's statement that the party was still intact. The rebel Jubilee leaders, while attending a church service in Nakuru, indicated their exit from Azimio party while declaring to work with Ruto's administration.
Mimi nataka niwaambie wale amukupata nafasi ya kuchaguliwa, mungoje nafasi ingine. Mutupatie nafasi, tufanye kazi na hawa wamechaguliwa, tupange mambo ya maendeleo ya taifa letu la Kenya.
It is during the inspection of the 2 billion shilling affordable housing project that Ruto spoke of the plan to continue with the Big Four agenda, where he blamed Azimio leader Raila Odinga for stalling their progress on affordable housing.
Hiyo kazi ya housing ambayo ilikuwa ni kati ya pillars 4 ya serikali ya Jubilee ya 2017 ilikuja ikakwamishwa hapo na siasa ingine ya bure, siasa BBI, sijui handshake, sijui nini, ikatukoroga mpaka hii kazi ikakwama.
The project is expected to be completed in December this year. Ruth Sarmui, NTV, Nakuru.
And Parliament resumes its sittings tomorrow after a prolonged recess coupled with training for members. NTV's Brian Mushiri now takes a look at Parliament's in-tray in the next session.
Kenya's 13th Parliament resumes its sittings Tuesday to a packed in-tray. The upcoming session is expected to be heated with much political acrimony across the political divide in recent weeks. Among the top items on the August House's agenda is the consideration of a memorandum dated December 9th, 2022 by President William Ruto, addressed to speakers of both houses on the creation of the office of the official opposition leader.
I am a great believer in an accountable government, and that is why we want our oversight institutions, parliament, the opposition, to be empowered so that they can ensure that public resources are used properly.
The National Assembly is also set to consider the budget policy statement while still looking at the inaugural supplementary budget statement for the Kenya Kwanza government for the financial year 2022-23, with a proposed increase in the spending from 3.36 trillion shillings to 3.72 trillion shillings. In line with the Kenya Kwanza government's promise of slowing down the runaway debt, Parliament is expected to consider the debt management policy of 2023.
First on our legislative roadmap from the 14th of February, when the House reopens next week, is consideration of a budget policy statement for the year 2023. We shall also be considering the supplementary budget estimates, which were already sent to the House last week by the National Treasury.
The Constituency Development Fund, which ran into legal headwinds, is also set to be discussed on the floor of the House. Late last year, the Supreme Court ruled that the CDF Act of 2013 violates the principle of separation of powers and therefore is unconstitutional. Already, a bill sponsored by Matungulu Member of Parliament Stephen Mule and Robert Geshimu of Geshogo has been tabled in Parliament and is being considered by a joint committee in both houses.
I know how important it is for CDF to continue because it is one of the funds whose impact can be seen in any part of Kenya.
President William Ruto has also put pressure on Parliament to speed up legislation on affordable housing.
Tumepanga tuanze 2017. Lakini hiyo kazi ya housing ambayo ilikuwa ni kati ya pillars 4 ya serikali ya Jubilee ya 2017 ilikuja ikakwamishwa hapo na siasa ingine ya bure, siasa BBI, sijui handshake, sijui nini, ikatukoroga mpaka hii kazi ikakwama.
The all-important two-thirds gender rule, which has been a thorn in the flesh since the 2010 constitution was promulgated, is also high in Parliament's agenda, with a proposed amendment to resolve Article 97, subsection 3 of the constitution to resolve this. It's now all systems go for the 13th Parliament of Kenya, one that promises its fair share of discussions and conversations, as well as drama and theatrics, with President William Ruto already biting off a chunk of the opposition to his side, and the opposition, or what is left of it, insisting that they will not back down. Fellow Kenyans, buckle up. This could be a bumpy ride. Brian Mushiri, NTV, Nairobi.
And we'll certainly let you know what exactly happens in Parliament tomorrow. Now, in an operation aimed at boosting the uptake of children in schools, chiefs in Fafi, that's in Garissa County, have embarked on a door-to-door campaign targeting children between the ages of 6 and 10. The campaign that's been ongoing for 2 weeks has registered over 1,000 children back to school, with some chiefs using donkey carts as the means of transport. NTV's Yusuf Mahad Abdi has more details.
Chiefs in Fafi sub-county in the county of Garissa have been going around the villages in search of children who are not in school. The operation involves raiding homes and capturing children to admit in school in a bid to enroll as many learners as possible. Some of the children come from far-flung areas, and chiefs use donkey carts to bring them to nearby schools. When they reach school, there is another operation to win their hearts and get them to stay.
Sahi roughly 78 roughly this morning. Leo peke 78. Hapa within this sublocation kuna 2 primary schools. One is Dagal maybe wahali ulpita. Kwa hivyo mimi bengine sasa nikifanya nitaenda Dagal primary school ambayo kesho bengine nawezaenda Guyo. Kwa hivyo shule si peke yake inanige.
Parents have lauded the move, saying despite the ravaging drought in the region, they are ready to bring their children to school.
Pongezi kwa machifu ambayo hiyo kazi ambayo wanafanya. Na hiyo sio kazi ya chifu. Hiyo ni kazi ya mzazi mwenyewe. Jukumu la mzazi apeleke mtoto wake shule apate elimu bora.
Like in many other areas near the Kenya-Somalia border, Fafi has borne the brunt of Al-Shabaab attacks in recent months, something that forced the Teacher Service Commission to withdraw non-local teachers from the area.
Most of the learners in our ECD, PP1 and 2 are already displaced. Their classes have been used for junior classes. Already they are outside. Some of them we have been taught under 3. Under 3, they have not even class.
We are excited. As you can see behind me, the students are very many. The pupils are very many. Initially, we had 87. PP1 and PP2 combined. And I'm the only teacher who is on the ground handling them. So you can basically, know the challenges I'm facing.
Madams, kuna wafugaji wengi sana. Alafu kuchukua mtoto mpaka Haraja na Lamfing. Ujue katikati ya Haraja na nani kuna nini, maybe kuna IDs, ujue utakuta na Al-Shabaab katikati. Kwa hivyo hali si mzuri kama mimi chief. Siwezi nikachukua garantia kwamba nitakuja mzuri.
With more children enrolled in schools, the ball is now thrown on the locals to pursue teaching courses to fill the gaps left by those teachers who fled the region for their safety. Yusuf Mahad Abdi, NTV, Garissa.
Right, that story on a quest for education takes us to our next break. Don't go far, the business news with Nina Shaban is coming up in a moment.
Family ni kujengana. It is about traveling through life together, growing and supporting each other, trusting each other with our dreams and never giving up on one another. Family is about going all the way with you. That is why we are here to help you grow your biashara by accessing loans, investment options, convenient banking, networking opportunities and so much more. Njoo tukujenge. Visit any of our 93 branches countrywide. Family Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Today we're on Happy Kenya Clean Toilet Mission. And you're visiting Mama Zawadi live in Nairobi. Come with me. Selena! Mama Zawadi, how do you keep your toilets clean?
I use normal detergent and bleach for washing.
The detergent and bleach cleanless can leave behind yellowness, rust and germs.
Harpic's 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach.
And kills 99.9% illness-causing germs in your toilet, including the COVID-19 virus.
Wow, Selena!
Nimeamini sasa!
Really?
Yes! Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
In life, you could be eager to be employed or be self-employed. Either way, you do need the right skills. This is the point where Goodwall is essential to you. Goodwall is a professional social media platform that offers you earning and learning opportunities. It offers you great chances to grow in your career, learn new skills, showcase your existing skills, network with like-minded people, or get job opportunities. Nation Media Group, in partnership with Goodwill, aim at providing solutions to unemployed African youth, creating digital content that inspires young people to stretch themselves and get the right skills that are useful to employers and their peers. So, how can you be part of this? Every month, we'll give you a chance to win $150 through our monthly challenge. Anyone can participate. Just look out for the challenges on NTV Kenya's social media platforms with the hashtag GigLife. Join the challenge now.
Let's take a look at some business news. My name is Nina Shaban. President William Ruto has hinted that Kenya could be tapping into a foreign currency denominated syndicate loan priced at between 7 and 8% to meet the financing needs of the current financial year. A syndicated loan would mean that the financing is arranged by a number of banks. The International Monetary Fund's fourth review of Kenya's $2.4 billion program revealed that there are plans to borrow $900 million through a syndicated loan arrangement.
Ile soko ya euro ambayo tulikuwa tumefukuzwa, tulikuwa tumeambiwa nyinyi sio hatuwaamini mnaweza kulipa deni ya mtu. Tulikuwa tumefukuzwa. Sasa wamesema Kenya is okay, we can borrow in the international market. Syndicated loans ambayo tulikuwa tunatafuta ile ya kupanga miradi, tulikuwa tumeambiwa nyinyi we do not trust you anymore. Today, the confidence in Kenya has come back, and we are being offered interest 7-8%.
The National Treasury has assured members of Parliament that it will disburse just half of the budgeted Constituency Development Fund (KITI) by end of March if the revenue collections fail to improve. Treasury sticks to collect 3 trillion shillings in revenues through the taxman in an array of measures, a key among them an expanded tax net to finance Kenya Kwanza's debut budget capped at 3.68 trillion shillings. Parliament resumes on Tuesday with a busy entry, among them the supplementary budget estimates.
If there would be any committee that I would expect that they should understand us, it is yours, because you understand how things are. But we have endeavored that every week up to end of March we will make the payment, so that we have by 50, at least by end of March we will have paid 50% of the amount. 50%. And actually, the situation is very tight.
We had a shortfall in the first half of 51.8 billion shillings, first half revenue collection. We are projecting to have an increment of 66 billion from the bottom line, from the current target. Meaning, in net terms, we are seeking to collect 117 billion more this second half, if you net off 51.8 billion first to absorb the shortfall and an additional 66. How feasible is that?
The recruitment exercise of the new managing director at the Kenya Ports Authority is expected to kick off in a week's time, and this was announced today by the Transport and Infrastructure Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who was in Mombasa to commission the new board of directors. NTV's Kevin Mutai has more.
The leadership of the new board of directors at the Kenya Ports Authority comprises of the chairman Benjamin Tayari, as well as Musa Osman, Emmanuel Kibet, Consolata Lusweti, Lucas Maitha, and 26-year-old Caroline Njoki, who are members of the board. During their inauguration, Transport CS Kipchumba Murkomen tasked them with ensuring the new managing director is in office by 1st of April 2023 and also implement strategies that will improve efficiency at the facility.
The completion of review of KPA Act must be done, and that's something Mr. Chairman, I'll be asking you to prioritize. My office will be ready to make sure that we have the act, and then we deliver, we submit it to Parliament.
The appointment of the board comes amid the government's push to complete construction of the special economic zone in Dongokundu, CS Murkomen revealing that there will be a new berth within 2 years ready to serve the SCZ. The state has also invited investors through the public-private partnership module in order to expedite the completion of the project.
This institution was suffering from serious political interference, and multiple directives that even when they wanted to make the right decision, there was too much interference, in that right direction. I want to assure you that as the cabinet secretary in charge of this docket and this agency, I will not give you illegal orders or ask you to do anything against the law.
This team will work together. All decisions which we'll make regarding to Kenya Ports Authority will consult very well, will be wise in making our decisions and ensuring that whatever comes out of this room will be best for the country.
The new administration is also focusing on revitalizing the port of Lamu, targeting to improve the infrastructure network, connecting the Lapsset corridor to allow for faster evacuation of cargo.
Although we are the biggest port in this region and number 2 across the whole of this African coastline, there is going to be competition as is expected. We don't fear competition, CS, so because anybody who has been in business understands competition makes you get better.
Kevin Mutai, NTV in Mombasa.
So that's it for Business News tonight. My name is Nina Shaban. Please do enjoy the rest of your viewing.
You do your best out there, let us do our best in here with the disinfecting power of Jake. Because Jake cleans and kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs and COVID-19 in your home. Jake, your family's guardian against germs and COVID-19.
Micro, small and medium-sized businesses are a vital cog in the engine that is Kenya's economy. There are an estimated 8.4 million such businesses spread across the country. They contribute an estimated 30% of total economic output and employ an estimated 15 million Kenyans. Unfortunately, 7 out of 10 micro, small and medium-sized businesses closed within the first 3 years of operations. How can you place the sustainability of these businesses at the heart of Kenya's economic agenda? NTV brings you Thamani, a weekly show focusing on the micro, small and medium-sized business landscape in Kenya. Thamani, showcasing resilience and exploring scalability.
Glad you're still with us. It's time for the sports update. Good evening, I'm Bernard Ndong. Now let's focus on hockey, and we kick off our bulletin with that particular update where Butali Warriors captain is bullish that his side has what it takes to reach the final despite the quality of opposition at the Africa Cup for Club Championships after beating their Kenyan rivals, the Western Jaguars, by 2-1 in their opening fixture at the Sikh Union Club. Moses Ademba gave Butali the lead in the first minute through a field goal before Kevin Kanu made it 2 for Butali in the 36th minute. Derek Wakwabubi then reduced the deficit for Jaguars in the 58th minute through a superb field goal. In the other matches, Kenya Police got their campaign to a bright start with a narrow 1-0 win against Hippo of Zambia. In the ladies' competition, Lakers Hockey Club of Kisumu drew 1-1 with Blazers at City Park Grounds. Kenya women champions Strathmore University battle with their counterparts Blazers tomorrow in their opening game at the City Park Hockey facility.
Okay, our target is just to reach at the final, because we are working hard for that trophy. We've never lifted it, but I believe in the boys, I believe in myself, we are going to do it.
Game 1 is always tough, and victory is good, and that's what we're here for, 3 points, 1 game at a time.
Honestly, I didn't expect us to begin on a negative, because we conceded too early.
And then we had moments to get back into the game early enough, but we didn't take our chances.
Competing in this championship has a huge impact on us, considering we are a young team. Our average age is about 22 years. So it's not just about this championship. This is our first time actually at this stage. So going forward, we'll use this to gel to prepare for the upcoming season. But of course, we want to perform.
Former Tanzania Prisons FC head coach Patrick Odhiambo is the new Kakamega Homeboys head coach. Odhiambo, who has signed a 6-month contract, returns to the club after nearly 2 years in Tanzania. He replaces coach John Baraza, who was last week shown the door due to poor results. Odhiambo will be assisted by former Nzoia Sugar head coach Ibrahim Shikanda. John Wao will be in charge of the goalkeepers, while Edward Manoa retains his position as the technical director.
Coach peke yake. Mbele kidogo. Sawa.
Bishop, songa karibu. It's the lead in the second day of the final round of the Safari Tour Golf Series, which is being held at the Muthaiga Golf Club. Kibugu played 4 under par to beat overnight leaders Gaita Rodell, Daniel Duva and Samuel Njoroge and claimed the top spot on the leaderboard. Today's round saw 22 players making the cut and advancing to the third round of the tournament, where the winner walk away with 300,000 Kenya shillings. The tournament of the players who will participate in the Magical Kenya Open, which will take place at the Muthaiga Golf Club from the 9th to the 12th of next month. On the international front, Estonia's 2019 title holder Oits Tanak deprived Ireland's Craig Breen of a maiden World Rally Championship win in Sweden. This was Tanak's first win for M Sport Ford since his return to the team. He drove for between 2011 to 2017. Part-time Hyundai driver Breen was leading the Rally of Sweden until darkness fell on Saturday night when Tanak grabbed the lead to take a near 9-second cushion into the closing day's 3 stages. The WRC circuit moves to Mexico next month when 8-time champion Sebastian Ogier, who won the opener in Monte Carlo, is in action. That update from the Rally of Sweden marks the sports bulletin for tonight. But remember, after the news bulletin, I'll be back on Sport On. And tonight we are hosting AFC Leopards tactician Patrick Ossems. Do stay tuned for that.
All right, well, before Sport On, we close the NTV tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Our sign language interpreter today has been Flora Atieno. Don't go far, Bernard and the crew are coming up in just a moment. Bye-bye.
Almost 250,000 people die on the road in Africa each year. Follow these safe steps and help save lives. Drivers and passengers must always wear a seatbelt. Ensure children are safely fastened and keep small children out of the front seat. So when you're on the roads, follow these safe steps and help save lives. We all have a role to play in road safety. Together, let's make Africa's road safer.
I'm Julian Samboko, Oliver Matenge, Matthew Mbipi, Nick Nyamori, Migok, James Uluoch. I'll be attending Man Cave. I'll be attending Man Cave. And I'll be attending Man Cave.
And I'll be attending the Man Cave on the 25th of February at the Lake House, Tigoni. Join us.
See you then.
See you then.
And hope to see you there.
Will you?
It's your former son, Carlos. And no matter what, you can never ever outsmart Carlos.
Get out of my building! Get out of my building!
Tell